Hi, and welcome to my Millfield story with Advait. This is the first of what I hope will be a very long-lasting Millfield tradition. My Millfield story is an interview series where we talk to some of our most accomplished and successful OMs. This is the first ever episode of the show and we have a great interview lined up. Today, we have a modern-day squash legend amongst us. A former world champion and current #1 in the world, Mohamed Shorbagy. Mohamed and his brother Marwan are all Millfieldians, and Mohamed has even done some interviews for Millfield in the past. So please feel free to check that out. We'll put the link in the description. Mohamed won his second Junior World Championship while he was still at Millfield, and was also awarded in international colours, but we'll get into all of that and more later. Mohamed, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
No, thank you so much for having me, and I'm really looking forward to chatting.
Brilliant, let's get started then. So Mohamed, in this crazy world that we live in with constant change every day, my first question to you is, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's been a very interesting period, I think, for all of us. But I think it was a period of reflection on focusing on the important things in life. And I feel it was a period to learn from, and I'm glad that we're here today and we're getting through it, all of us together, really.
Yeah. So, Mohamed, my second question is, what have you been doing over lockdown, and how have you managed to maintain your training and your fitness routine?
Well, it's been a very interesting and a challenging period because, of course, we stayed without tournaments for 6 months, and it was easy to lose motivation. But for me, what I did was I started thinking on how I can reinvent myself as a person and as a squash player, and what mistakes I have in my personality as a person, in my squash as a squash player. So I tried to improve in a lot of different things in life as a professional athlete. And I decided a few things with my team, with my parents, and it's been an interesting few months, definitely. But I feel like I've made a lot of improvements, and I'm really proud of how I handled the last period.
That's great to hear, Mohamed. So let's roll back the years now. Tell us about your life before Millfield, your early life in back home.
So I'm originally from Alexandria, from Egypt. I started playing squash when I was 8 years old, and I used to be in a French school actually in Egypt before I came to Millfield. So strangely, I couldn't speak English when I came to England. So, but like as I said, I started squash when I was 8, and my life was between school and squash, really. And I was playing a lot of tournaments as a kid, starting to get better. I won the British Junior under 15, which is like the world championship for us in juniors, and school was hard as well to try and manage both. But luckily, I had a good school in Alexandria that I understood that I had to do sports as well. So it was challenging, but I think these challenging times and challenging periods makes us tougher as a person. So that was my life pretty much before Millfield.
Mm-hmm. So you came to Millfield after a chance meeting in 2006. What was that factor that made you say, yes, I want to go there?
So basically, there was a squash world championship in Egypt 2006, and I was 15 years old at the time, just after I won my world championship under 15. And Joey Barrington, the son of Jonah, who Jonah was the coach at Millfield at the time, was playing the world champ in Egypt. And I was a kid going to watch the matches and stuff. And after Joey lost in the tournament, so I went to introduce myself and to try and train with him. But he didn't know who I was. I was like a kid to him. Why am I talking to him, basically? And he seemed interested in a different way, not to play with me, but in more of, when I told him that I was in a French school, he kind of seemed interested in different ways. And then the day after, he told me, would you be interested to come to Millfield? And at the time, I didn't even have in my mind, me or my family, whether we would like to even go abroad one day and study. And when he asked me whether I want to go to Millfield, I said on the phone, yes, I would like to come. And I didn't even know why I said that. I was a kid. And I didn't even tell my parents. I said yes till after the phone call. And then after that situation happened, in a week, I was in Millfield. Actually, we did the visa within a week. It all came by luck, actually. Within a week, I was in Millfield. I did the visas. My family. I think the crazy part that I was very close to my parents, and the crazy part that actually my parents agreed that I go to Millfield as a kid and leave me by myself in a country where I couldn't speak English at all. I found it tough, and the first day I arrived to the school, I arrived to Castle Carry Station. I remember a very small train station that I didn't hear anything about till I arrived to England. My mom was with me, and then Jonah came and met us at the train station. And because of Jonah, my mom felt comfortable for me being there. Mom stayed with me only for the first week till she was comfortable for me being there. Jonah was like my dad here, and the school was very understanding and a lot of things in terms of that I couldn't speak English. So I tried to do math and physics and English and French in my first year. And when they realized that I couldn't keep up with the subjects because I couldn't speak English, so we decided halfway. The school agreed that I do my first year just English to improve my English, which was very understanding, to be honest. And then we started the 2 years of A-level from all over again the year after. And that's when my English was much better and I was fine and things went well, to be honest. But without the support I had in my first year, I would have struggled if I kept going without speaking English in those subjects, definitely in my AS level.
Yeah, so, Mohamed, you spoke about how you came here basically within a week. What exactly were your expectations when you came here? Did you have any expectations of Millfield?
Well, to be honest with you, I kept hearing that I was hearing that it's an amazing school, an amazing education. Obviously, Jonah Barrington, who is an all-time great for squash, won the World Championship 6 times, was a no-brainer for me to come to train with him. But at the same time, coming from Egypt as a kid, we didn't see anything else outside Egypt at the time. I think if we were from England, it would have been an easy decision, but coming from Egypt was much more difficult because I had to leave Egypt, I had to leave the family. I was very young, and the expectations were we didn't know any expectation till we arrived here, and then we had that wow factor, like, wow, this is an opportunity and we need to make the most out of it, because you get opportunities like this once a lifetime, and you have to have the courage to take these kind of opportunities in life because they don't come often. And it was a decision from my parents. For me, my parents were the hero to make that decision for me to come here, because I'm sure it was such a hard decision.
So what was squash training like for you when you were here?
It was very tough, to be honest, because when I came here at the beginning, I couldn't speak English, but the only language I spoke was the language of squash, to be honest with you. So Jonah had that language of squash, so we understood each other from the first day, even that he couldn't really speak to me that much in English. So we found it easy to get along when we were on court having sessions. So training was hard because training was always at 4 o'clock, but I always liked training twice a day. So that's what I was used to in Egypt. We train at 4 in Egypt. We train at 4 and another session at 10 p.m. But 10 p.m. when I arrived to England was not acceptable in England. Like I was at the boarding, so things were a bit different. So I had to adapt to my training. I didn't think I would struggle here. I thought, okay, this is the way that I'm living in England now. This is the rules of Millfield, and how can I adapt to make the most of the situation? So I started waking up a bit earlier. The teachers at the boarding house were okay with me going to the school a bit earlier than the other students, so I can go and do my training around 6:30 a.m. So I do my training, finish my training, and then start my classes and do my second session at 4 p.m. So I just managed it a bit differently, but the school knew I had a special talent in my sport. They wanted to make sure that I get better at it. with getting better at studies at the same time. So it was different and interesting, but I learned a lot about myself there, definitely.
That's incredible. I mean, 2 sessions a day and waking up at, I'm presuming, what, 5:30 to get to these sessions.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it in Egypt, we are used to sleep late at 10 and at 11 p.m. even, to be honest. That's normal in Egypt. But in England, I had to get used as sleeping at 9:30 p.m. So waking up early. Now, even that I finished Millfield, I finished uni. Now my day, I sleep at 9:30 p.m. and I wake up normally at 6 a.m. to train. So actually, the way that I got used to Millfield, I actually liked how I organized my life after that, and that's actually pretty much how I am, anyways, without the rules, even.
So, Mohamed, you said that one of your proudest moments at Millfield was receiving an international colours tie from the then headmaster. Just take me back there. What exactly was that like for you? I mean,
it was obviously a very special moment for me because very few people get that kind of a prestigious award, at the school, and to be awarded that in front of my whole year, in front of all the teachers, doing it for Jonah, who took me like his son when I arrived, to have a player from his squad getting that award as well, at a sport in the school. I felt like I made his sport proud within the sports at Millfield. It meant for me a lot. Having it in front of my ear. I remember when I was going down the stairs, I was I was so shy, getting it in front of everyone. It's funny because whenever I'm winning titles in my career, I'm so used to that moment. I'm never shy. I'm okay with the interviews. It's something that I'm okay with. But during that moment at Millfield, I actually felt really shy to go down those stairs in front of everyone. But that just meant how special it was for me. And it's something that I remember till today. But it's also it happened because of hard work, but not just hard work individually from me, but it was a team around me, and part of that team was Millfield, to make sure that, as I said, that they allowed me to train before I start school, and all these things, all these things were the reason of why I arrived there, and so to get it was really a proud moment, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And you also won your second Junior World Championship while you were at Millfield. Take me back to that moment. I mean, what was that like for you? What was that like? How did that affect your academic life in school?
Actually, it was very interesting because I was doing my A-levels during that year. Luckily, during that year of that World Juniors, I was ranked number 14 in the world in senior, and I had quite a good gap between me and the others during that year. But still, that makes it actually tougher mentally to deal with, because there is so much, even more pressure when you're way more expected to win like that. But I had my A-levels exams in May and June, and the World Juniors was end of July, and I actually had to stop playing squash training because A-level exams are tough. Definitely were tougher than AS level exam. This is like the peak of exams really at school. Your last year, the year before uni, and I think the month of April, I didn't hit one squash ball because I was only studying. But I had in my mind the World Juniors that it's a big tournament that I need to be prepared for it. So we adjusted in a way that I'm doing only fitness training during that month. So I'm just doing one session a day, because it's always harder when you take a break to get the fitness back. Playing squash it's easier to get the squash back. It takes a few weeks really. So when I finished exams, I had a month and a half of doing squash and physical training. So that's how I adapted to it. It was a hard period in terms of academic and squash wise, and I needed to succeed in both. But instead of succeeding in one and not succeeding in the other, we thought as a team how I can try and succeed in both. And that's what the decision made for April, to just train, just study, and just train, focus on the physical side. And I felt that we did it well, and we adapted to that period well.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, about your Millfield days, was there any one specific Millfield memory that you really treasure, or that was just really memorable for you?
To be honest, when I got, of course, the international color was an amazing day for me, and it's something that I'm really, really proud of till today. Uh, to be fair, squash is normally it's an individual sport, and everything you do is so individual. But the only time I felt the team spirit is whenever we won as a team in Millfield, the school championship every year. I was there. That for me was a very special moment. That we all of us, the Millfield team, went together in the bus. We went there to focus together to win the tournament in terms of the senior and the junior team, and I felt responsible in a way that because I was the only player at Millfield playing professional, and professional wise, when you play professional, you have to mature earlier than normal, So I felt that I was kind of with Jonah, trying to be the second hand for Jonah, trying to tell the other players, how to be more professional. Let's eat certain food, how to be more professional during the matches. And whenever we won it was always special to be around the other students, from Millfield, all of us, winning together. It was definitely always another special moment for me as well.
Mm-hmm. So after Millfield, you went to UWA Bristol for university. Did you always plan on plan to go to university when you were younger?
Definitely, I've always planned to go to university, even when I had a lot of potential to be where I am right now in squash in terms of being world number one. I never had doubts about not going to universities. I've always wanted to go because I've always believed that as an athlete, your career is quite short, and I always believe that going to universities and studying in general always open up the mind, always, it's not just about studying, whether you're doing engineering or business or anything, just meeting different people in the university life, just talking to different people, seeing their different mentalities, it always helps you grow as a person, and it gets you ready to how life is. When I was in Millfield, I thought that I'm living the hardest times of my life when I was doing my A-level exams. And then when I went to uni and did my last year at uni, I felt that I was having the hardest time of my life too. But it's actually when you go after uni, that's when you actually start life, and to start to feel the pressure of life, more pressure in life, and you have more responsibilities. And actually going to universities actually kind of helps you grow as a person and mature you enough to actually get you ready how to handle that pressure. And I feel that I took the right decision going to universities, and I definitely did. I think I did okay managing both my squash career and getting my university degree.
So while at university, you became the world number one. And I want to know, how exactly did that affect your personal life?
Well, to be honest with you, I when I went to university, it was a hard year at the beginning because there were a lot of changes. You are basically responsible of yourself when you're at university. When you're at school, yes, you're responsible of yourself, but you still have a lot of people around you to go back to. Like your teachers. You're following under set of rules. But when you go to universities, you make your own rules. Whether you want to make the rules to be disciplined in life, whether you want to make the rules not to be disciplined, it's your own rules. And so that's when you mature as a person as well, a lot, because it's easier to do mistakes when you finish school. But it's these mistakes that makes you grow as a person. You learn from. Actually, it's very important to do these mistakes. But yeah, as I said, so in my first year, I felt a lot of, I was unsettled a lot. It unsettled me for my squash career as well. And after that first year, I started, I felt like I matured a lot in that year. That made me know how I can organize my life the way it should, how I can be more professional. From that second year, I never looked back, to be honest. I've always known more how I can be in life, how I can live life the way it works for me. University is an interesting time, but you grow a lot as a person, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So is there, speaking about mistakes and your university experiences, building on that, is there any sort of mantra or piece of advice or, I don't know, or some sort of motivation or something that you live by that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, definitely every person for me always go through challenges in life, different challenges. Every person go through hard times. But these are the moments in life that define every person, because every tough period has to come to an end, but it's how you come out of it. Will it make you stronger or weaker? This is up to you to decide that. For me, the way I look at it, I always love a challenge, because I think these are the challenges for me are like a test in life. It's either you're gonna fail or pass, like a math exam, for example. You're gonna study for it. You're in a challenge whether you're gonna fail and pass. I love that kind of challenge, because these are the challenges makes you better, makes you stronger. It makes you work on your weakness. When you have a math exam, for example, in my math exam, statistics was the thing that I didn't enjoy in math, for example. But it made me work so much harder on statistics that I needed to get better at it. I saw it as a challenge. Same with my squash career. There are few things in my game that I don't like, I don't enjoy, but I work on them. So so I always think that it's the losses, it's the hard times that you need to accept before you accept the good days. You don't deserve the good days if you don't accept the bad days. And for me, it's it's the challenges in life that are for me. I always look at them in an exciting process that will make me better. So for every person who go through challenges, go through tough times, always take it as it's an exciting time instead of saying it's a hard time to go through.
Yeah, that's incredible advice. And I'm very sure a lot of our viewers would really take that advice and use it in their lives. So Mohamed, now you've been used to performing at the big stage and you've been used to the pressure. But what was it like early in your career when you're young? How do you deal with the pressure of competing at such a high level?
Yeah, it was obviously when you're young, every stage in your career is very different, just like in life. And when I was young and going through the rankings and trying to go to world number one, I was playing players who are older than me, that they had more pressure playing me than I had more pressure playing them. So, so the only thing that could stop a young player, I think, achieving what potentially they can achieve is when they go on court with the current world number one, for example, and they give too much respect on court because of their status, instead of thinking how I can win the match. And I mean, there is a difference for me. There is a difference between giving respect off court to someone who's older than you, but going on court trying to treat him as an opponent, who's trying to just stop you from winning. And for me, I've always, whenever I went on court, these top players always went hard at me to try and tell me basically, you're still a kid. Don't try and beat us. Now, this is not your time. This is our time. And for me, I didn't care when they did that. I actually went hard back at them. But at the same time, whenever I did that, I earned their respect as well, till they accepted that I was one of them. And that's the thing with every sport. You see it in other sports like tennis, for example. There is Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic in every Grand Slam. It's always one of them winning it because the young players don't believe enough they can beat them in a Grand Slam. It's very similar situation. So, but now, as I am being at the top, I see young players trying to play me. Some of them give me that respect when I know that they can play so much better than that when they play me. And some they don't. And the young players that they don't, I actually have so much respect for them because they're trying to beat me. And they don't care that I'm the world number one. And I respect that more because that means that I will get them at their best and I will try to beat them at their best. And but yeah, it's because it reminds me a lot of when I was coming up the rankings when I was young as well, definitely.
So Mohamed, we've spoken about everything in university, but what was the story between you finishing university and you getting to even higher parts of your career?
Yeah, it was, of course, when I finished university, it was, yeah, it was, it wasn't that much different in terms of what I wanted to achieve in my career. I wanted to, I was still traveling the tour, and but I mean, the focus was always to be the best player in the world, and that's something, luckily enough, I achieved while I was at uni. Um, and yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's the dream stayed the same. Just when I finished uni, I just wanted to stay at the top, and I got not out of it 4 times. And every time I tried to come back there again, it was more difficult than the previous time, because it meant that someone played better than me when someone knocked you out. And I always came back to my team and thought, why did that player got better than me? Why is he playing better than me? How can I improve to play better than him the next season? And it's something I did, and whenever I did it, someone else knocked me out, and then I came back, worked on my weaknesses, came back, knocked him out again. So it's an exciting process, and the main thing is to improve. The main thing is to improve as a person and as a squash player. And if you focus on improving in your job without improving as a person, it won't work. And if you focus on improving as a person without improving in your job, it also won't work. It's all one whole project. All of it has to work together. And yeah, it's just always be willing. Every day you wake up, for me, how can I improve today? What can I? And whenever you go to bed, always think what are the things I improved on today? And if you couldn't answer that question, then you wasted one day in your life. And there is so much to do in each day. So always how you can improve every single day is very important for me.
So you spoke about how you deal with losses, and you deal with losses by improving and working harder and beating them next time. Building on that, what do you think has been the hardest moment of your professional career?
I think there was a period where I got to world number one when I was 22, and then I lost it at 24, and I came back to world number three. But that particular season, I had a lot of personal issues in my life, and I was losing a lot of matches. I lost even a couple of first round in few tournaments, which was the first time in my career losing the first round, and it was very, very tough because I was losing to players that I've never lost to, and I got overweight. I was not even doing what I needed to do off the court, and I was not proud of myself in that year, definitely. But at the same time, I was going through a lot of personal issues, and to people that were really, really close to me. And the reason of why I'm saying it, and I don't mind saying it, is because every person will go through challenges like this in their life if they haven't yet, if they haven't already, I mean. And but that year completely changed me as a person, and it made me much, much stronger in my life. But it taught me how to separate things in life, how to deal with things and give it its right at its right time. So it made me know how to separate my personal life to my professional life. And after that year, these losses, it was really, I lost a lot of confidence. I lost a lot of motivation. I didn't even want to train at days. And then after I finished that season, I lost to actually my brother. I had a loss to my brother for the second time I lost to him. But it wasn't that I lost to him, but I lost to him in 18 minutes. And normally the average matches are normally around 50 minutes to an hour. So I lost him in 18 minutes. So it wasn't even a match, basically. And after that match, I cried a lot, actually. And I decided that I don't want to feel like this again on court. And I started to train. I started what I did that summer. I spent a lot of time with myself. I kind of wanted to, I felt that I was always with people. I was always with my team, always with my parents, always with my brother, going to tournaments, being with people. And then I realized that I actually don't know myself as a person. I need to spend time with myself. So I started reading a lot, getting into coffees, going to the park, and just relax as a person, because I used to be a very intense character. And I started to, when I started to get to know myself more, I started to think about things in life much better. and starting to plan things and know, okay, how I can come back next season and go back to world number one again. And I did that, and coming back to world number one the next season was very, very a moment I was proud of, because I went through these tough challenges, but I was proud with how I came through that period. But what I guess what I'm trying to say is these challenging times I went through, everyone is going to go through challenges like these, but it's very important to separate the mind with your emotions, because when the emotion take control, that's when the mind is off and you're gonna take a lot of wrong decisions in life. And it's important to separate both. And when I spent a lot of time with myself and learned about myself, that's when I learned how to do that. So it's very important to learn that 1 + 1 not equal 2 in life. And that is something, it took me a lot of time to learn that. And yeah.
So you spoke about this, and obviously it was a very hard time for you. What kept you motivated in this time?
I think what kept me motivated that time is because I was seeing players that I shouldn't lose to at that period, that I was starting to lose to, and knowing my potential, I knew that I was better than these players, to be honest with you. Of course, these players still beat me till today, but I know that on a consistent level, I can beat them much more than they can beat me. So yeah, what I did at that time, I changed my squash team. I went to a different coach. I needed new blood in my team to start the motivation again. And I put people around me, different people around me in my team. And we started really working hard and studying the other players, and go from there, really.
Mm-hmm. So you've spoken about changing your team and these hard moments of yours, but my question is, what comes next for you? What happens after your sporting career?
So to be honest with you, I'm 29 years old now. Obviously, I do realize that most of my years are behind me now in my career. I still think I have good years ahead of me. There is a lot I still want to achieve in my career. I know I want a lot of things, but I've never looked at what I want. I always look at what I can still win, you know. But I have been in the sport for a very long time. I have so much experience in this sport, and I have always wanted to, when I finish my career, to do something completely different, to take up a different challenge in my life, because I love challenges, love different challenges. But the more I think of it, I always think I have had so much experience in this sport, and I feel like it's my duty after I retire to give back to the young kids and try and fulfill their potential and help them to fulfill their potential. So this is something I would definitely want to still be involved in. But I would like to look at the business side of the sport and use my degree with it as well. And whether it's giving back to the sport in trying to host a big tournament, like there were never big tournaments, never a squash tournament in Bristol, and I love Bristol as a city, and I love living here, and I would love to host a big tournament in Bristol one day and bring the sport much bigger in this side of the country, you know. And it's something that I would like. One of my dreams actually is do the tournament and actually maybe get Millfield maybe at some point involved as well to host a big tournament at the school at some point, you know. I think to bring like a glass court as well. I don't know. I have so many dreams that I would like to do in terms of giving back to the sport, to the school, to my university here, because all these people have helped me so much to facilitate the process to fulfill my potential, and to be where I am today. It's has been a hard work for people around me, and I would like to do a lot to give back to all these people who have helped me in my life and my career, definitely.
It's incredible. If we, I think I can speak for Millfield when I say that if you host a tournament, we'll be very happy to come and participate, and definitely be involved with that. But getting back to your career? I mean, if it wasn't for squash, what field would you go into? I'm pretty sure when you were at Millfield, you had plenty of opportunities, co-curricular and academic as well. So if it wasn't for squash as a professional career, where do you think you'd be right now?
I actually wanted to do engineering always. I did math and physics at school actually in my A levels. My parents are both engineers, and I've always dreamt to do engineering like them. And actually, I loved math actually as a subject as well. Um, like some people love math, and like me, and some people didn't really like math. It's either love or hate the math subject. It's a subject like that. I know, but I always looked at mathematics in terms of I have an equation in front of me. It's either the equation is gonna beat me or I will beat the equation. So it's an athlete thing. It's an athlete mentality. So that's why a lot of athletes do like math actually as a subject. I think because they always see every equation as a challenge. I think to solve. But I think I wanted to do engineering, and funny enough, I actually did mechanical engineering in my first year in uni. Before doing business. The reason I had to change it was because there were a lot of lab work doing engineering, and unfortunately, I had to balance my squash career with my degree as well, and I had to miss a lot of classes to go to my turn to play my tournaments, and then the university did agree with the business degree. You can do a lot of online. You can follow online a lot of the stuff, even when I'm away. There isn't really much lab work, or if any, really. So doing a business degree was more of a calculated decision to balance my life between doing a degree and doing my squash career, really. But I think engineering would have been the thing I would have liked to stay in, definitely, if I had the choice.
And if there's anything you could change in your illustrious career, what would that be, if anything?
Um, I would, I mean, definitely when you look back at things, you always can say, oh, I wish I did that to get better at that. I wish I did this a bit earlier. I wish I didn't waste that time. But all of these moments, all of this, if you want to call it failure, but I won't, because all of these challenges are the reason of what it made you who you are today and get you where you are today. And probably if you didn't go through them, and if you didn't go through them the way you went through them, you wouldn't have been how you were as a person today. Um, but if there is one thing I would pick, is definitely I would have. I used to be a very intense character in terms of whenever I played matches. I used to show a lot of emotions. Uh, I used to take losses in a very hard way, which was a good and a bad thing, you know. But later in my career, I learned to be more relaxed in life, to see losses in a way. Yeah, be hard on yourself, but as well turn them into a positive thing more. So this is the only thing really that I would have probably liked to learn a little bit earlier in my life, how to learn how to be more relaxed in life, to deal with situations a bit differently, how to know how to close your emotions in some situations, and just use your brain so you can think clearly about making the tough decisions in life, because there are days in life where you have to make tough decisions, and that's when the mind has to be involved more than your emotion. And that's what I would have liked to change a little bit. But other than that, to be honest, I am happy with how things progressed, as should every person as well.
Now, Mohammed, we've spoken about life before Millfield for you. Back in Egypt, we've spoken about life at Millfield, and even your career, your incredible, illustrious career. But now I want to talk to you about something that means a lot to everyone in the Millfield community and to you as well, which is Together Band. Together Band is a global movement that aims to achieve the United Nations 17 goals through culture and creativity. And Mohammed, you're an ambassador for goal number 1, which is to eradicate poverty. So would you like to talk to us a bit about your ambition behind that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, definitely choosing poverty as well was a big thing for me, because I travel a lot to play tournaments, and I have seen a lot of poverties in a lot of countries I went to. and coming from Egypt as well, there are some areas in Egypt where there are a lot of poverties as well, definitely. And I do think we live in a time where we shouldn't have, like, I wouldn't say we shouldn't, but I think we are capable of eliminating poverty in our planet much more than this. Um, and Yeah, and I think it's something that I have seen where there are a lot of homeless in different countries, that they're living in winter, whether they don't have enough to even have a roof on top of them, or have food in their table, and it's sad to see, and I think we can do much more than this to help these people, and I hope this is something that we all can do and help to eliminate that, and yeah, that's my view about it, really.
Now, obviously, Mohammed, I come from India, which has a 30% poverty rate, which is, it breaks my heart, honestly. So my question is, how can students like me help, and how can people in the regular community help achieve these goals?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's very like I'm very, first of all, I'm very proud that actually Millfield is actually teaching the students about all these issues in life. It's very important that that I have even learned, maybe because I like it was very important for me that I learned about all these things when I was young as well. And you realize that we are lucky enough, we have the life we have had, but at the same time, this is far from actually how many people are living actually in our planet, and it's very important that the students learn about these things, and I think it's very important that the students learn about how to volunteer in different kinds of communities, and how to help people, and how to how to talk to these people and make them feel how to make them feel happy and comfortable, and I know there are a lot of programs that help with these things, and I'm glad that Millfield is taking a huge step toward that, and it makes me proud that I used to go to Millfield, and being part of Millfield as well, and yeah, and I'm glad that students are learning about these things, definitely.
So, Mohammed, we sent an email out earlier last week to all the staff and to students at Millfield to ask you questions, and we got an incredible response to it. So, my first question is, what was the hardest part for you in reaching your amazing achievement?
Sorry, which was the hardest?
What was the hardest aspect or part of your career that made you reach your incredible achievements?
The hardest part was, I think the year I arrived to Millfield was my toughest year, because I couldn't speak English, and I had to learn how to find ways to still get better in my career, in my squash career. And I think if I didn't have people around me at that year, I would have really struggled. I think that was really the toughest year, and I think from that year, it kind of it made me take massive steps to get where I am today, definitely.
Was there anything unexpected in reaching the top that you hadn't anticipated?
To be honest, like you mean during my career?
Yeah, in your career. I mean, was there anything unexpected when you reached the top of your career that you hadn't anticipated? Maybe a lot of media attention, or the incredible pressure that you must have faced, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think the year that I lost the world number one, when I had some personal issues in my life, I think a lot of media, a lot of people were saying that because that year I lost the world number one to players who were younger than me. And that was the first time players younger than me overtook me in the ranking. So they were saying that the new generation are coming, that there is a new time in the sport now, and that my time was almost not, like, I'm past my peak, definitely. And I think I took all these things within, and it motivated me a lot to actually show everyone in the media that no, I am it's still me. I'm still can be the best player in the world, and that was actually 4 years ago. And to be able to do that for the last 4 years, it made me not want to go through that again. So it made me always train hard every year. So every day, whenever I felt lazy a little bit, definitely I would remember that year, and it pushed me through, definitely.
That's absolutely incredible. So the next question is, how many languages do you speak?
3: Arabic and French and English. I would love to learn Spanish one day, actually. I like Spanish. I would like to learn Spanish. Because all the students who were in my class that did French, they all did Spanish. So I would like, I think French and Spanish are very close, two close languages. So I would love to learn Spanish. I like the language. And whenever I went to Mexico or Colombia, all the countries that speak Spanish, it's such a nice language to hear. So I'd like to learn one day, yeah.
So next, what's your favorite country to visit?
I think Mexico and Colombia. I think the people there are really, really nice, and there is a really nice vibe about these two countries. And yeah, I really enjoyed myself when I went there.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember your favorite teacher while you were at Millfield?
Yeah, I loved Mr. Ackerst, my math teacher. His classes were always fun, and because he's an athlete himself as well, so it was a lot of fun going to his classes. I loved math as well, so I loved going to math classes as well. So I remember where his room is. I remember everything, obviously, and yeah, I loved going to his classes, definitely. And I think I saw him a few times when I came back to Millfield, actually, earlier this year. It's always fun seeing him, definitely.
And Mohamed, my last question for you, because obviously I've taken a lot of your time already. Is there any advice or any piece of wisdom or words of wisdom that you'd like to leave us behind with?
I think definitely when I think for all the students at Millfield is to appreciate every day you're there, because honestly you're living the best days of your life, actually. And you get to realize that when you leave the school. And every time I came back to the school, I miss it actually so much, because I've had great times there. And it always feel home to me whenever I come back. So honestly, you get a lot of opportunities there at the school that not many students get to have these opportunities at other schools or in their life. So honestly, like my advice is to really appreciate every single day and use every single opportunity Millfield give you. Because honestly, these are the best days of your life, and one day you will miss them. But the great thing about Millfield that they always stay in touch with all the students. It's a lifetime relationship, and till today, the headmaster actually texts me whenever I have a good win. You know, he always send me congrats on Twitter, and it's honestly a lifetime relationship that you will cherish for the rest of your life. But definitely appreciate every single day there. It's a great school, and it's a great time being there, definitely.
Thank you so much, Mohamed, for your time. I've certainly gotten a new perspective on what life can be and the kind of work ethic and resilience you need to be a winner. So this was fantastic. You were actually the first guest ever on My Millfield Story. And I'm so honored to have interviewed you today. I've learned so much, and I'm so sure that all of our viewers have done the same.
Thanks a lot for having me, and I've had a lot of fun talking to you, and good luck with your exams, especially your math, your favorite subject. And I hope I'm sure it will go well. It always go well, you know. So it will pass, and I'm sure you will do great. Good luck.
So I'd like to thank Mohamed for his time yet again, and I think this has been an incredible start to My Millfield Story, and I hope to see you again very soon. Have a wonderful day.